Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we like to begin this lesson by giving all glory, all honor, and all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Fadash. Giving double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways, pushing this doctrine, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
And even unto the sincere awkward, the sisters who sit listening these lessons in silence, subjection, and obedience unto their husbands, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
Right, a couple of brothers here gathered today together from the heroes of Yahweh Shai camp, brother and brother Maya Sha'ala, right? We wanted to go into today, word of the day for March 13th, 2026, Immure, right? Ready?
Yeah.
Right.
Immure.
Immure, right? What it means to immure something is to enclose it within or as if within walls. So you don't necessarily have to be within physical walls, but it could be walls in your mind as well. We're going to get into that later in this lesson, right? Immure is also sometimes used synonymously, right, with imprison. Scientists at a research station in Antarctica are immured by the frozen wild that surrounds them, right? Reading, did you know, like mural, immure comes from muros, a Latin noun meaning wall. Immure came to English by way of the medieval Latin verb immurare, formed from muros, and the prefix in, meaning in or within. Immure, which first appeared in English in late 16th century, literally means to wall in or to enclose within a wall, but it has extended meaning as well. In addition to senses meaning to imprison and to entomb, the word sometimes has broader applications, essentially meaning to shut in or to confine. One might remark, for example, that a very studious acquaintance spends most of her time immured in the library. Right, so this word give me the inspiration, right? Give me the spirit to go into this topic from the aspect of Jerusalem, right? Because this has all happened before. We've been immured before, and we will be immured again, right? We will be enclosed within walls, right? Or as if within walls, right? If you wanna give me 21, verse 20. Yep.
Luke 21 and 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
Right, go ahead.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Go ahead.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Right.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Boom. Jerusalem shall be trodden down by Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And Luke 21:20, when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies. This compassing with armies is what close mean, an enclosure, a walling around, right? So if I could just go back again to it. Right? To enclose within a wall, right? They've been enclosed or imprisoned by what? The armies. And this is going to happen again as Ecclesiastes 1 and 9.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Right?
Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us.
Right.
There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after.
Right, but the things written aforetime were written for our learning. So now we do remember these things, not physically actually having memories, but we know these things happen, and we can expect these things to happen again. There's a prophecy in scriptures about walling in and encamping around the people. Right, if you could give me 2nd Ezra 16.
2nd Ezra 16 and...
We can go from 70.
Verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in those next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, and they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who am I chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire.
Right, and what? Yeah, part that it says fire, because going later into the lesson we're going to explain that it's going to be a wall of fire and water on either side. Right, and Esau sets to represent this in these last days. If you had something?
Yeah, I want you to.
Yeah.
Exam 2nd Ezra 15. And 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And lady point here, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Why you're not going to be able? Because there's going to be a wall set around you, and that wall is what? Revelation 13 and from verse 16. In fact, you could even read from verse 15. Yeah, go ahead.
Revelation 13 and verse 15.
Right.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast,
right,
that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right, so that's a wall right there, something that prevents you, something that encloses you, something that entraps you, right? Go ahead.
And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
Which is a form of worship to the beast, right? And what if you do not worship the
highest
beast,
form.
right, correct, the highest form, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Verse 15, so you ain't taking the mark of the beast. Where you think is the penance for that? Death. Right, go ahead.
Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Right.
Here's wisdom, let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636.
Right, and now let me go into that word mark. Right? Yep, going into that word mark. Right? Is stamp. So like it's on the Greek 5,480. Right? Going into it is on the Greek Strong's 5,480. Charagma. Right? I'm going to go into that root word as well, because that root word really tells the story. A stamp and imprinted mark, the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The badge branded upon horses, tin carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. Just to make mention, the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. Right?
One. And it also says what is a badge of servitude.
Right.
And you enter the word servitude.
Right.
It says slavery from online etymology. Says early 15th century, earlier Soviet thought, late 14th century, slavery, bondage, condition of being enslaved.
Exactly, right? Which is a wall in your mind. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. There's an immure in your mind because the wall will have to physically be there, but today in your mind. Right, go ahead.
None but ourselves and fear our mind.
Right. Going now, the Strong's definition, charagma from the same as G 5482 is scratch or etching, i.e. stamp, as a badge of servitude or sculptured figure, statue, graven image, right? Now going now to the Karax. This really tells the story here. A pale or stake, a palisade or rampart, pales between which earth, stones, trees, timbers are heaped and packed together like what? A wall. Now we're going into this word rampart here because this is what's going to tell us how this is Esau's immure, right? Going Karax, strong definition, Karax, karaso, to sharpen to a point akin to Greek 1125 through the idea of scratching, a stake, i.e. by implication a palisade or rampart, military mound or circumvallation in a siege. When you see what Jerusalem compassed about with armies, the next time that happens, where you think they're coming with this mark to force it on you?
Luke 19,
right? Verse 41. Turn again. Yeah. So, right, Luke 19, 41.
And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
Yeah, part. Just go into that word real quick. Trench.
Yeah, go to the same class.
It's go to it?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the whole point right there. Right? Going now, because we have to understand, they say the mark of the beast. The Karax, the mark, goes back to being God. So that,
I went to the word trench and go back to the same G 5482.
Karax. Right. So what? Yeah, we shall literally prophesied about the mark of the beast, because the mark of the beast is an immure. Because when we go into
because speaking about the 7th AD, but as you know, the scripture is manifold.
Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that was is the thing which shall be, and the thing. So you tell the thing that which is. So like yeah, you read it at the beginning. I just can't paraphrase it right now, but the point is, whatever happened in the past, you could expect it to happen now.
And only that we go be that man 6 here.
Job 11:6?
Yeah, and he would truly select. Job 11:6. That scripture talking about I think it's Job 6 and 11. I can't remember the scripture go, but it goes along the lines that not because a man saying one scripture, or not because a prophet would say or write one scripture for the time, it mean that he's only talking about that, because the scriptures manifold.
Yeah.
It could represent then, now, and even in the future.
Correct. Going now, because now we'll be seeing that the mark of the beast, when it goes into that word mark, right, the mark of the beast, it goes back to rampart. So what is a rampart? Right, we have it here. Can you read it?
I have it in you have it on Google?
Yeah, Google. Well, Google, and they take it to AI platform, right? Rampart. A rampart is a broad raised embankment of earth or stone built to defend a castle. Earth or stone, like we was reading the definition for it when you go back into it in the Greek, right? To build or defend a castle, city or fort, or it bound to be defend, but what entrap or enclose within. It acts as a defensive boundary, often furthering a wide walkway on top for soldiers to patrol and fight from. such as in the US national anthem. Key synonyms include bulwark, wall, embankment, fortification, and barrier. Usage examples: walk along the ramparts to take in incredible views of the sea and the mountains, right? Now going on to key characteristics. Structure often constructed with earthen mounds or stone like walls, sometimes designed to resist cannon fire, provides a high, secure position for defense, making it harder for enemies to breach. Commonly seen in historical fortresses and mentioned in military history. So what? I ask is Google, right? And Google give me this. You ask them, right? And it just press Simo, and it's like an AI thing, right? So anyhow, and when you go into images as well, you're seeing as images of walls and high towers, things that could really enclose and entrap people, right? So now, right, where we was. Right, now, you see this Immure, this wall, this rampart, we determined that through the definition of the mark, when you go into the word mark for mark of the beast, it is a rampart, it is an Immure, it's a wall, right? And what is the whole point of this? Well, it's ultimately Esau's trap, right? Where it is book of Psalms, is it chapter 9 and verse? Yep, you could, go from 15. Yep, go ahead. Right. The Psalms 9 and from 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. Again, you're going into the Luke 19. It speaks about the cast a trench about thee, right? Which that they made in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. Yeah, right? Right, so that is the verse 15. So what? This is ultimately a net, a trap, a snare that they have hid for the nations, right? Especially the nation of Israel. But again, their own foot taken, what they're going to be punished by the very trap, snare that they have hid for the nations of the earth, because they're going to take part in that trap as well. As we know, Judaism always say the Most High have Esau in a trick bag, right? Revelation 14 and verse 9, because ultimately this is a wall in your mind, right? Because again, it goes into what? When you go back to that word immure. To immure something, or in this case, let's say someone or the people of the earth, right, is to enclose within or as if within walls. So a physical wall does not have to be around you, but if you have a wall in your mind that you know what, we have to hearken unto Esau, we have to back down to Esau and his laws and partake in that Revelation 13 and 16 law, then you've just been trapped. Why? Because anybody who takes part in that will have to take part in this, right? Revelation 14 and 9, doom for the worshippers of the beast. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, right, the nuclear blast, right, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you've just been tricked into taking part in the judgment with Esau again. Revelation 18 make mention of what? Come out of here, my people, be not partakers of our sins, that ye be not what? Cut off in her iniquity.
I'm now looking up something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? You see, how can a bank apply a rampart on the people?
A bank? Mm-hmm. We know the mark of the beast is currency. Go ahead. Or it's a form of currency. It's tied to currency, because with it you're going to be able to buy and sell. If you don't have it, you don't have no money in them days. Again, men shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Some of them men speaking of the prophets, you ain't gonna know this. But go ahead.
Mm-hmm. It says, when people talk about a digital rampart applied to the people by a bank, they usually mean security systems and controls that monitor and restrict customer activity to protect the bank and its users. Instead of guarding only the bank servers, the Rampart also surrounds how customers access and use bank services. Here are some ways a bank can apply this kind of protection. Strong identity verification. Banks require proof that the person accessing an account is really the account holder. Examples select multi-factor authentication, MFA, passwords plus SMS code or app approval.
Or select. So go ahead.
Biometric login, fingerprints or face recognition, security questions or identity checks.
Or even if you want to think about it prophetically with the beast, how is it that he's able to prove that you have his mark so that you can take part in the system? Is how? The number of his name. The number of his name is on his mark. It's what 600, 3 score, and 666. Like a barcode scanner. So they're gonna know who you is and where he is and when he is every time. And they're gonna know if you don't have the mark. That's why I'd say if he had power to cause as many as would not worship him by taking the mark, right, should be killed. How they know who they're killing? Because they know who had the mark. Because it's a scan. They can scan it with his as a badge of servitude. Come on, right? So going into it now, Revelation 6:16. If you could get that from me, if you're not nothing there. Yeah, well, if you could read Revelation 6 and 16, because again, it's a trap. So it's going to trap you. Nah, 6:16.
Revelation chapter 6 and verse 16. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb.
In fact, if you could even read verse 15.
Revelation 6 and 15, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men
and the chief men and the captains, right?
And the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man.
Pause. Every demographic of people they could think of in the earth. Why? Because as pursuant to that Revelation 13:16 again, that story tells the story of a mark that nobody is exempted from, in the sense to say anybody could get it, no matter who he is. By the elect, of course. Why? Because again, ultimately this is going to be something that's going to be mental more than physical as well, because we're going to see that society is going to completely collapse. And what the beast or the people who run the earth going to do what? They're going to provide the mark of the beast as a solution to the shit and the turmoil that they have plunged the earth into. Go ahead.
Hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and say to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come. And who shall be able to stand?
Right. So what? You're gonna pay for that. If you're back down to Esau, if you let that wall in your mind come up, that's where you need Esau to save you, and he man gonna be the solution and the salvation to the shit the world going through. You're gonna die for that, right? And that is ultimately what the prophecy speaks about. Because what? If you could give me a 21. No, we read that already. That's the one we read before. That is Luke. I think it's 21:25. We talk about no, not that. That not the look up. And I 21:27, 19:27. Bring them head and say no. I talk more in terms of mind state the people are gonna be in. Right. Because what? That is the wall they're gonna have up in your mind, innit? They're gonna box your brain. They're gonna put your brain in a box, basically, right? Because of the shit they're gonna see. It is Deuteronomy 28. Right? Deuteronomy 28 and verse 67. In fact, verse 65. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt. So you know the saying, your life gonna hang in the balance? Basically, Esau plans to plunge the world into utter chaos to bring his order, and what? Gamble with your soul. Right? Going sorrow of mind, right? And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. Esau knows these prophecies. He knows who the true Israelites are, and he understands that as pursuant to this chapter specifically, these curses shall pursue us. So what? These curses still gonna be on us in Jacob's trouble. So what? It's still gonna be set to come in the earth, that your life gonna hang in the balance. And what? You can't lose faith in them days, because if you lose faith in them days, what's gonna happen? You're gonna go to who you think are the solution. Again, as we go into that word perplexity, right? And just reading verse 67. In the morning thou shalt say wood power it were evening, and at evening thou shalt say wood power it were morning. So you just wishing for this day to done and just start our next one, right? For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Right, go. You can go now to it. The Luke 21. Yep.
21, 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon.
The sun, Salak. Wi-Fi, right? Luke 21. Yep, go ahead.
Luke 21, 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations.
Distress of nations. You gotta understand. I was now thinking to go in it because what? Again, we know as the person who has to administer the judgment for taking the mark of the beast, Revelation 14, 9 to 10. You have to be in the presence of the Lamb, and you're going to get that judgment for taking the mark of the beast. But what does say the heading here? The return of Mashiach. He's going to return to the earth in a very turbulent time. Again, Acts 14, 22. Through much tribulation shall men enter, or labor to enter into the kingdom of heaven. The second Ezra, we could read that, the second Ezra 7. It talks about what? Fire on this side, water on this side. Walls. Right? Walls.
And not just walls, Susan. I don't really watch the scripture, they are prophetically. Water and fire is two cleansing agents.
Right.
So you're going to have to go through the two cleansing agents to make it into the next side of the kingdom.
Ooh, yeah, pull out. But going into this word here, the stress, right? So the time before Yahweh tried to come and administer the judgment for the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast is going to be administered. And what he says, what they're going to be the stress of nations. Going into
not only that, the water and fire also represent
affliction.
Two destructive agents as well.
Do the Lord give us the bread of adversity and the water of affliction?
Shall not our teachers be hidden in our corners and know what our eyes shall see our teachers.
Wait as he say,
you find the letters gold is very hard to try the letters and
gold is tried in the fire, you find your silver, you find they talk about acceptable men being tried in the furnace of adversity. That water and that fire also represents the Immure, the rampart, the wall. Esau is going to use what he knows coming upon the earth as the testing time for the elect to try and trick everybody into worshiping and bowing to him.
And
right?
To trick everybody because he knows he's gonna have majority of the world in the back pocket. He doesn't care about them.
Trying to the elect that Matthew 24, if it were possible to deceive the very elect.
He's still trying to test you how you wanna figure out the depths of the sea and what is scripture say to you this and you come to Jacob if you could find all the depths of the sea.
And measure the whole compass heaven and all these kind of things. It's also his yep, it's also his way of trying to be God, right?
Yeah, I think he's trying to do an impossible task. If you could achieve one of these impossible tasks and you could overthrow God, you can't do none of it.
Right.
Thus say the Lord, whatever he said will be done.
Right. The Greek Strong say 4,928 in the Greek.
Strong's G 4928 Sunache.
Right, Sunache, right? A holding together, a narrowing or an enclosure in picture.
I explain that you go read the second verse after that. You get narrowing.
Right, exactly, because what? Picture this when you're watching let me say watching any movie and they're trying to break into a temple. You step on the wrong block and that block sinking. What has happened? And the walls are started closing on you. Exactly, that is the stress of nations are closing in and narrowing, right? The contracting part of a way, right, metaphorically straits the stress and anguish. So before the Son of Man returns, this is the state he's going to meet the world in. Now we could go, as a result of this distress, what's it going to do? It's going to cause men to be in a state of what? Perplexity. We could go into that word perplexity when you finish. Read the verse.
And And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, and the stars and upon the earth, the stress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves run.
Right? Going now into that word perplexity. Right? Right, let me see here. Right, so going back, right, it's on the Greek Strong 640, aporia, right, the state of one who is in perplexity. I'm going to go into the Greek Strong's 639, right, it goes into aporeo, so like,
read it from the Strongs.
The Strong's?
Yeah.
Right? Aporeo from a compound of G1 as a negative particle and the base of G 4198 to have no way out, i.e. be at a loss mentally, stand in doubt, be perplexed. Right?
These are definitions.
Right.
Definition 1 here.
Right, these three definitions here. To be without resources, again, if you don't have the mark, you're not gonna have access to resources from Esau.
So,
but will you have access to resources from the Lord is a real question you should be asking. Because again, give us this day our daily bread. You're not asking Esau for that. Never see the shall not want.
And if you read that translation, it says, the Lord is my ruler or leader, I shall be wanting or in want of nothing.
Right, so what you're not gonna be in wanting. Right, I'm going to be without resources, to be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed, to be in doubt, not not to know which way to turn, to be at a loss, to be at a loss with oneself, be in doubt, to not know how to decide or what to do, to be perplexed. I believe you're also going, when I go to Matthew 24, the love of many shall wax cold, and when you go into that wax cold, it goes into the Greek word psycho. People are going to be like crazos in these last days. It shall be like madmen, spare none. Right? So that is what the Esau is going to use. He's going to use the prophecies that the Lord is going to bring upon the earth to plunge the earth into utter chaos as judgment, right? Because all these things were stripes made for amendment, but these people were not always mindful of that, of the scourges, right? Esau knows that is coming, and he knows he's the one who has to bring it, Revelation 12:12, right? The devil knowing that he had a short time coming down upon the earth with great wrath, and woe to the men who dwell in the earth, right? Roughly paraphrasing. So saying what? Esau is going to use that as his trump card to try to trick everybody into taking the mark of the beast, right? Yeah, I just had one more point there because it also goes into imprisonment.
Yeah.
We know we had to touch that.
Second verse 7 and from 3.
So that's all.
Actually, I from 5.
5?
6.
6? Right, yeah, go ahead.
Second verse 7 and 6. There's also another thing. The city is builded.
New Jerusalem, the inheritance of the elect Israelites, right? Go ahead.
And set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things.
The kingdom.
The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand.
A wall of fire, a rampart, an immure of fire on the right hand.
And on the left it deep water.
And a wall of water on the left. Go ahead.
And only one path between them both.
Right, so same like again, you break into a temple to try and steal the goods. And the wall closing in on you as you get closer to the goods. Okay, mash the wrong brick. But that was nearly the wrong brick. Okay, well, he had to mash that brick, Acts 14:22, to enter into the kingdom is too much tribulation. Go ahead.
And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be but one man go there at once.
So like only one part, so small, and when we went into the distress, it spoke about it being what, narrow? Right, go ahead.
If the city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass it, being just set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
So good.
And I said, it is so, Lord, I made the world.
No,
so
go ahead.
And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion.
So what the portion of the Israelites, the remnant. To be one of them men, you have to be able to go through the shit, right? Now, again, if we could read back that definition, it make mention of it speaking about also imprisonment, right? And we know jail coming. There's the word immure again. What it means to immure something, or again, in this case, someone, is to enclose it within walls or as if within walls. Immure is also sometimes used synonymously with in prison, and we know we go into jail in these last days. Go ahead. The definition for the word immure. Yeah. Right. Right now, what we know we go into jail in these last days, again, that Revelation 12, he coming down with great wrath, but what? Revelation 2 and verse 10, and if we could give more Luke 21 and 12, and we'll close with these two. There's Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, or what? Immure you, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You can go ahead.
Luke 21 and 12. But before these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons,
Right.
being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, and shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what he shall answer. So I will give you a mouth and wisdom which your adversary shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
Right.
And he shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren, and kinsfolk and friends, and some of you shall they cause be put to death.
Read till 19.
And he shall
Read till 19.
And he shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall none of not an hair of your head perish, and your patience possess your soul.
Take control of your mind again. Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Control your minds in those last days, because if not, you're gonna go, you're gonna wax cold, you're gonna go psycho.
I could keep that down for that.
Yeah, yep.
Is on Isaiah 33 and 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Shai is his strength. And that's how you're going to control your mind in these last days, and sustain your mind in these last days. Keep the fear of the Lord on you.
Right.
As Peter said, you are ought to fear man rather than, it's a lot. You ought to fear God rather than man.
Obey. You ought to obey power rather than man. And what? The Esau is going to try to get you to obey him instead of power. He not trap me like, right? So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, and that you were edified. In closing, like to say, Kal Halal Yamla Yahweh Ba Shem Yahushai Ba Shem Rucha Kodash. Like to give double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways pushing this doctrine, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
And even unto the sincere Aquat, the sisters who sit listening to these lessons in silence, subjection and obedience unto their husbands, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
This was a couple of brothers here from the Heroes of Yahweh Shai Camp
Brother Hanana.
and Brother Maya Shala. Until next time, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.